must be something wrong with me, Linus. Christmas is coming, but I'm not happy. I don't feel the way I'm supposed to feel. I just don't understand Christmas, I guess.
Okay, so we're going to have a couple of quick speakers, mindful of the fact that it's precipitating, but also our spirit is greater than any rain. So we're going to have a few speakers today. Our first speaker is going to be Ruby Reyes from the Boston Educational Justice Alliance. Our Boston Public Schools have been greatly impacted by budget cuts over the past 20 years and scarcity budgets. We want Northeastern to pay their taxes, and we want it to go to public schools, to public housing, affordable housing for Boston residents. This year, their pilot is supposed to be $6 million. If I owed $6 million, I would have to pay it, right? But they did not pay it. Did they pay $5 million? No. Did they pay $4 million? No. Did they pay $3 million? No, they paid $1.9 million. So they're cheap. And we want them to pay their full amount. Our next speaker is Alyssa Zimmer, a former Northeastern University graduate and an activist.
We're really, and the city is really not asking for a lot from Northeastern, just $6 million. If Northeastern was treated like the for-profit institute it actually is, it would be paying $35 million a year to the city. And it can't even meet the bare minimum that the city asks for it to help cover basic city services and provide opportunities to residents. Despite COVID this year, despite sending student homes and refunding housing, Northeastern still had a budget surplus. And it's absurd that they refuse to do the bare minimum to give back to the community. And it's the community that has helped Northeastern create such a profit. They've profited off of land that belongs to the Roxbury community, pushing up prices for residents that have been here long term. They profit off of the backs of workers who are recognized by the university for the full value that they provide, and they need to give back and do the bare minimum for Boston.
So people may not be aware, but there's been a long struggle on the campus of Northeastern to organize the adjunct faculty. Our next speaker is one of the members of the adjunct faculty. Sunny?
Faculty union, we've been trying to organize for over 2 years, and Northeastern's been resisting. So it makes sense that they're not paying their pilot taxes because they, on every front, workers, community, they really just are resisting being a good neighbor, being a good employer. So, I think it is disgraceful. So I'm out here calling on Northeastern to pay their pilots and do the right thing. I thank everybody for being here, and let's make them pay it.
Our last speaker will be Johnny McGinnis, Political Director of the Boston Teachers Union.
We're proud of this coalition and stands by its recommendations of full payment of pilot, added oversight, a process for transparency and engagement and community benefits, as well as thanks to the city councilors for the current reevaluation of property that is happening in Boston. As educators, we are increasingly alarmed that pilot institutions fail to pay their full promised contributions while the schools struggle with chronic underfunding. We hope to continue working with the City Council and other stakeholders to make sure Boston's pilot program serves our city, including our schools.
So, if Northeastern were to give their pilot payment, we would have money. We'd have money to buy books. We have money to buy books.
What a beautiful day, all this haze in this room. Payment in lieu of taxes, I'll sleep like a broom.
So now we're going to go on to chase the Grinch over the city. And he stole our sound too. So our next stop is going to be Boston College. So what do we want? Northeastern to do what? Pay your pilot now! Pay your pilot
I think we're getting fairly close, maybe, to Boston U. Do we have a sense, Cindy, do you have a sense as to how close we are to Boston U at this point?
We are, this is Jay on the ground. We are, I would say about 2 minutes away from BU and probably about 10 minutes from there to BC. And Al on the Zoom, ready.
Steve. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Al.
How's it going? I'm actually driving by BU at the moment, so I'm going to pull over and let the caravan keep driving by me, but I'm going to say a couple of things right after I make sure I do this safely. So almost at outside of Gannis Arena right here on Com Ave. So I'll be on video on 1 second as well.
Okay, there you are. We see you.
All right. Hey, everyone.
Awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was hoping to do this outside, but as you can see, it is pouring outside at the moment. So I'm going to be doing this from right in my car, right in front of Gannis Arena, which is one of the nice athletic facilities that have been built by BU, and I believe in just the last 5 to 7 years or so. So I'm pretty sure that some of my funds as a BU alum have been used to allow for this great university to have this great building here. So yeah, let me roll down the window here. And I'll
Yeah, so how does it feel like? I mean, you have, the BU president makes something close to $1.5 million a year, right?
Right.
And they're not as bad, I guess, as in terms of the shortage as Boston College and Harvard and Northeastern, but somehow they can't get to that 100% of 1/8 of what they would owe as a commercial institution.
Exactly. So for folks, I finally pulled over here. My name, again, is Al Vega. I'm the Director of Policy and Programs at MassCOSH, the Massachusetts Coalition for Occupational Safety and Health. We are a big supporter of the work that is happening with the Pilot Action Group. And so our organization provides support to immigrant workers through our Worker Center, to our teams and our Teens Lead at Youth program, Teens Lead at Work Youth program, as well as supporting unions and other community organizations with technical assistance and training to ensure that everybody can have a safe and healthy workplace. So the reason that we're here today outside BU, and maybe I can turn my camera around, see if I can do that, so you can see where I'm at here at BU.
Yeah.
Fancy establishment over here. Again, this wasn't here when I was a student 16 years ago, and I just finished paying my loan earlier this year. So that's how long it's taken me to pay back to a school that, is quite costly, but I'm glad that I was able to get a degree, and I hope that BU would be a good partner as well. We know that BU is supposed to be paying close to $18 million in pilots. 50% of that is community benefits, which they report and say they do that, 100% of the community benefit side. But the other $9 million, we know that they've only paid about 6 million of that amount, so about 70%. So I know BU, although we're great for those funds that you have been paying, you can be a better neighbor, particularly during this pandemic. As we know, cuts to city services, cuts to our school budgets, particularly now when we need more higher maintenance and capital repairs budgets are the reason why I think we need to make sure that BU is a good neighbor and pays its pilots on time. So as a BU alum, I'm going to continue clamoring and asking for that, but I'm really hopeful that we're able to see an opportunity for this institution to do the right thing. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll continue on the caravan.
Maybe say a little bit more before I have you sign off. Just what could that money be used for? What do you see as the needs in the city of Boston?
Right. So in particular, we have a program that's focused on healthy schools. And so we know right now there's a lot of lack of resources for federal funding, for capital repairs, maintenance, ventilation, HVAC systems, windows, you name it. These are things that we've been saying year after year are underfunded, but we don't have the funds. And so institutions like this, when they withhold funds, that impacts our city's ability to provide the right resources and services we need. Woo! All right. Hey, the caravan's behind us. Woo!
Wow.
All right. Well, looks like the caravan is getting by us right now. Woo!
All right. Well, Al, thanks so much. I'll let you join them if you like.
All right.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. But again, be a good neighbor. Just like we're asking of Northeastern, Boston College, and Harvard today. We need you to be the best neighbors and make sure that you're providing your pilots so that our city can provide the services and resources they need to.
Great. Thanks so much, Al.
Thanks so much, Steve.
Okay, we are here at Boston College. They're failing grade. They get an F. Okay, thank you. So we're DC. We had a little bit of a ride through the city. We're still trying to chase the Grinch who's stealing Christmas from everybody. We're at Boston College, beautiful campus. Boston College is especially notorious because Boston not only barely pays its pilots, but it doesn't even bother to report to the city anything. 4 years ago, we tried to with every university swapping out their pilots. Harvard, we met with them. Northeastern, we met with them. BU, we met with them. But what happened to Boston College? Did we meet with them? No! They refused to meet. They're too good, they said. Well, they didn't say that, but that's how they went. Anyway, so we're here at DC, and we want to deliver a message. And we're glad to have people who are actually also bright in the community because Boston College is not just Boston College, it's Boston College in Boston. And we want to make sure that DC is a good neighbor and that it actually takes its responsibility seriously.
Greetings, Pilot Action Group Caravanners. My name's Justin Brown. I'm a member of the Boston node of 350 Mass, a statewide network of residents committed to a just transition away from fossil fuels and towards a healthy future. I'm here with fellow members, most of whom are Allston-Bright residents and DC neighbors. We know that confronting the climate crisis requires everyone doing their part starting now. Climate justice cannot be achieved without first tackling economic disparities, educational inequities, environmental racism, and other systemic injustices. To do that, Boston needs pilots. It needs its elite institutions like DC, all of whom are guided by goals of community engagement and betterment to do their part. DC has Boston land valued at well over $500 million, meaning they pay over $13 million in real estate taxes. Pilot asks BC that 25% of that in contributions, but BC's most recent pilot contributions, woefully bad, just 23% of that what it owes. Community benefits? We have no idea. They don't even submit any reporting about community benefits and hardly talk to the city about their pilot obligations. If schools got grades for this, we couldn't write F- large enough to highlight BC's failures. BC, you are on academic probation. If this was a beanpot tournament, a hockey tournament, BC would be getting trounced by the Crimson, the Huskies, and yes, the Terriers. Every single game, lots of never-ending L's for the Eagles. BC prides itself as the first institution of higher education in Boston, but it is dead last in its pilot contributions. We at 350 Mass stand with the Pilot Action Group in calling on President William Leahy and other school leaders to step up and pay. We're also calling on faculty, students, alumni, many of whom are committed Jesuits fighting for justice, to pressure their alma mater to pay up. Woo! Yeah! We've got a chant. You ready? We'll call and response. Gonna go to BC.
BC
needs to be.
Needs to be.
And all together. Part of the community. Can I go to BC?
BC
Needs to be.
needs to be part of the community. BC needs to be part of the community.
they need supplies, they need all sorts of things for the schools. And Pilot represents cash when it comes to the city, cash that's needed for important programs such as school safety, such as other programs that the city does in terms of health care and public health. And we are threatened by the Grinch who wants to steal this.
Never pray up. It's mine.
So we have one more stop to try to catch the Grinch.
All right. Get him.
Down Lake Street, down to Harvard, and we're gonna catch the Grinch?
Yeah.
Oh, on to the Grinch!
Mr. Grinch, you really are a hero.
Dashing through the halls of hospitals and colleges, meeting with deciders who all agree to pay pilot payments flow, making teachers smile. What fun it is to act with thankful funding come to light. Jingle bells, pilots on the way. Oh, what joy it is to go to fully funded schools. Hey, jingle bells, pilots on the way. Oh, what joy it is to go to fully funded schools. Hey!
So we made it to Harvard. We did chase the Grinch, and the Grinch still keeps following us. Can't get rid of the pesky Grinch. So, anyway, just going to say a couple words about Harvard. We are on the Alston Brighton campus of Harvard, or better known as Alston Brighton Complex, I believe. And Harvard owns more land here than it does in Cambridge. And most of this land we're standing on is really part of Harvard's expansion. And when you drive around here, it's kind of frightening because it's like another century. But anyway, so we're here to send a message to Harvard that Harvard, you have an endowment of over $41 billion. You've invested in vineyards. You've invested in rainforests. You've invested in office buildings. But what you haven't invested in is the city of Boston. We're here to deliver a message. So today we have speaking here with Lisa Weber, who's a resident of the area.
We want Harvard to pay their fair share. We ask for $13 million a year from Harvard. For community benefits would be about half of that. And Harvard never lives up to the request. They've paid this year. Exactly, boo! This year they paid $1.9 million, which is 31% of what was requested. This chunk changed. And this is Harvard with a $39 billion endowment. Their endowment growth has been steady. It's been 154% over the last 10 years. And as Enid was saying, they invest in vineyards, they invest in rainforests, they invest in office buildings all over the world. We think they should put equal investment in their own community and the residents. They benefit from being here. We're a world-class city. We provide opportunities, we provide benefits to them, we provide services. Their property is worth $1.5 billion, and we want them to pay their fair share. Today we're calling on Harvard to pay their full pilot.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you for that great singing. So we just want to make sure that Harvard understands what it's doing when it doesn't pay its pilot. For example, this would be books that would be given to the city kids, or this could be programs in public health to fight the pandemic. But instead, Harvard says no. And then this would be money that would represent all sorts of programs that are needed in our city. Whether it's violence prevention, whether it's public health programs, whether it's any of the number of programs that are needed in the schools. And what happens? Harvard does not do it because Harvard is a... I'm gonna steal it again. Harvard does it all. So the Grinch keeps stealing. Whoa, you left your money, Grinch.
Only Harvard can use them on
So anyway, so this, this was meant to be lighthearted, but on the other hand, this is serious business that Harvard does not make good on its commitments. We sat with Harvard about 2 years ago, and they were full of, you get my words. Don't want to say them on the Zoom. They were full of hot air, and they kept telling us all these liberal promises, but the reality was nothing changed, and they are still Grinch-like.
These universities are getting away with, a short amount of money to pay anyhow, and then they're not even keeping up with what their commitments are.
Harvard, we're not going to let you get away with it. Northeastern, we're not going to let you get away with it. No more using your nonprofit status as an excuse for greed and corruption.
I work in homelessness services. There's not enough access to affordable housing, let alone shelter beds, let alone equitable access to testing. Meanwhile, Northeastern is testing hundreds of students a day just because they want their tuition money. And we don't have enough tests for the community.
We need income. The cities and the towns and the state have been losing money, but these private institutions, the nonprofits, have been making money. It's time for them to pay up, because we need to figure out a new way of saving our society. It's not that things are getting worse, it's that things are getting uncovered. And we need a different approach to fix the problem. We need their contribution.